I'd like to return to a passage you read in preparation for this week, John chapter 5, verses 2 through 9, that healing at the pool of Bethsaida or Bethzatha. This passage is so powerful. Here's a man, 38 years old, been sick since birth, trying to get into the healing waters of the pool of Bethzatha, so close yet so far away, been sitting there for who knows how long, trying to get down in those waters when they're stirred up. Somebody always goes in ahead of him, stealing his healing. 38 years for him. Every moment is a struggle. Just getting out of bed in the morning. Probably didn't even have a bed. His family has abandoned him. People with disabilities were liabilities. The outward and visible sign of some family sin. Better to just drop them off somewhere and let nature take its course. What kind of life would this be? Begging for every morsel of food, trying to drag himself to whatever help he could find. The harsh grind of his daily existence surely sucked the meaning right out of life. Can you imagine that? I think you probably can. Maybe not in the physical sense, but who among us hasn't had those seasons of emptiness, hasn't felt those existential crises when we wonder why we're even trying? Some may feel that emptiness right now. Our whole world is in an upheaval because the curtain covering what we hoped was a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, for which we've all been working so hard, has been pulled back, and what we see is a whole lot of nothing. Jesus speaks to us in this moment. Do you want to be made well? It is our favorite Greek word again, sozo. Do you want to be healed, made whole? Do you want to be saved? Our 38-year-old friend doesn't answer the question. It's been too long for him to say yes. He tells his usual story. Well, I don't have anybody to put me down in the water. I just have to sit right here, and those people over there are always stealing my healing. Maybe they'll drip a little water on me when they come by. At this point, that's all I can really hope for. In this man's defense, he didn't realize that God was there in Jesus asking the question. But we do realize that, and still sometimes we fall right into the stories of unworthiness and limitation and scarcity that we tell ourselves all the time. They really are stories of fear. We're afraid of something different or new. We know this way of being that we've been practicing for so long. It's certainly not the best, but at least we know it. We don't know that other thing that Jesus is offering. We don't know what a life of healing and wholeness even looks like. It might hurt, like when they put that hydrogen peroxide on a cut, or maybe there is just too much risk involved. Thank goodness that Jesus didn't pay too much attention to this man's rambling. He just said, stand up, take your mat, and walk. And he did. Turns out he had been waiting for the wrong kind of healing all that time. An encounter with Jesus brought wholeness which changed his life in ways we cannot imagine. That healing was a restoration, a vindication, a forgiveness. He could reunite with his people. He could worship in the temple again. He could work. He could have a family of his own, have friends. He could have a future with hope because of an encounter with Jesus. Jesus, I think, asks all of us, do you want to be made well? Sometimes we don't know how to answer that question because of our own baggage and confusion and frustration and anger and grief, and that's okay. Discipleship is not having the right answer. Discipleship is always about what happens when Jesus says, stand up, take your mat, and walk. That's what we want to think about as we consider our next session. What does it look like to walk this kind of life rooted in the gospel of Jesus Christ? Let's think about that for next week. Thank you.